Good evening, everyone, and welcome along to EML Premier. We are here tonight for F1 2021 action, and of course, round 3 of Season 2, as we take in, of course, the Azerbaijan Grand Prix from the Baku City Circuit. My name is James Hay, going to be taking to the stream, as always, on a monthly Wednesday night. And joining me in the commentary box, of course, it is, well, maybe half a bottle job in League 2, is, of course, Mr. Michael Edwards. Mike, how you doing?
I am doing great. Managed to get to the end of that one, which obviously, being that it is Baku, just getting to the end is an achievement.
Yeah, getting to the end is definitely an achievement, and honestly, the driving standards, I was watching League 1 and League 2 a bit succinctly, and honestly, the driving standards were a little bit poor in both divisions, so hopefully here in Premier, it is going to be fantastic to see, of course, on-track action. Looking at the standings, first of all, there will be timing graphics, of course, coming up to the left-hand side, or the standing graphics to the left-hand side during the formation lap, but to remind you what happened, of course, last event, TTG gained 40 points on their rival, so TTG lead on 82 points coming into tonight, with FRL in second on 46, and FVR, after a good show, in third on 45. SXT are only a point behind in fourth on 44. There's F1 Friends Cup in fifth on 40. VER in sixth on 39. Customs GT in seventh on 36, with TRT in eighth on 27. IFR in ninth on 22, and FMSL, bit of a mouthful to say that, but they're on the nil point currently. And Mike, obviously reviewing last event, of course, in Spain, TTG 82 points now to their name. A class above the rest so far, but we have got a very interesting battle for second. Pretty much 10 points covering, what, 6 teams?
Yeah, absolutely. Very intriguing for that battle for second. And obviously, TTG getting the absolute perfect start in terms of getting away from their competitors early on. Are they going to be able to keep that up into tonight's race? Time will tell.
Yeah, time will tell indeed. I think TTG have struggled, to be honest, in both of their races so far tonight. I know Tomo had a bit of trouble, CR7 and Sway had a bit of trouble as well within the League 2 race. But Premier, of course, is where all the action happens. Hopefully we're going to be seeing some great action, of course, out on track. And let me take you through then the lineups, what everyone is going to be fielding in terms of the teams. So, for FMSL, we've got Hoya, Marve, Bands, Tex and Angel. For IFR, we've got Tom Robbo, Rudy and LRB. In TTG, we've got Hadler, Michi, and TexFX Pro. In FVR, we've got Modesto, or Molo, and Kreiser. SXT represented by Javier and Yogurt. VER represented by Mika, Marlon, and Jurgen. FRL represented by Ron, Michalizzi, and Jerome. TRT represented by Matt Nat, TRT Bunty, and the Pied Piper. Good name that, I've got to say. Blandia, Charles, and Magles are representing CGT, and Yonieve, Kaiser, and Ruben Teve are representing FFC. And looking at that driver lineup, of course, interesting TTG lineup, Hadler and Michi obviously coming into that. But FVR, I've got to say, probably one of the teams to beat. Modesto certainly has been showing a very good turn of speed within the PSGL event. And Colin N'Golo, a bit of an unknown factor, so FVR might just come into this.
Yeah, so obviously, with it being Baku, it's like it is the perfect opportunity to maybe give some of the guys who are on the up and coming a chance to really, bite their teeth into EML here this week. Obviously, Baku's such a difficult circuit, anything can happen, and it's one of those tracks where you can give someone who's a bit of an unknown a shot, and they could end up going on to win the race.
Yeah, I mean, FER, they've really showed a good turn of speed, as I say, in Singapore in the PSGL event. And they've got that fresh in their mind, of course, from last Friday. And hopefully it is going to be an absolute fantastic night's worth of action. And FER probably one of the teams to watch out for. But obviously looking at that, the standings as well, we've got 6 teams basically covered by 10 points. So every driver has got to essentially finish out on track for them to score points. And that is going to be crucial, especially with a close battle like that going into round 3.
Yeah, absolutely. Finishing is going to be key here, and obviously it is easier said than done here at Baku, that castle section, an absolute nightmare to deal with. Obviously, when you're battling side by side, you're risking your race every single time you're side by side, especially in the first sector. Through one, you can get caught on the exit or caught on the inside curb. 2, you can get put into the wall. 3, you can just understeer into the car and put them in the wall, and obviously yourself as well. But it's so tricky to really go side by side here, keep it clean, and keep your wing, keep in the race.
Yeah, definitely. And I think around a track like Azerbaijan, I think that is not for the faint-hearted whatsoever. Of course, where the old meets the new, the Baku City Circuit, of course, 6 kilometres and then 3.7 mile, 2 DRS zones, of course, one down in towards turn 1, one down in towards turn 3 as well. We saw Ricciardo and Verstappen crash here a couple of years ago. We saw Verstappen, of course, get a puncture down the straight, along with Stroll getting a puncture down the straight, of course, in the 2021 version. And then that famous lock-up, of course, from Hamilton, which might have just cost him the championship. Verstappen, of course, leading the championship in real life. But, Mike, obviously, Baku is one of those races where, one of those tracks where you've got to be so close to the walls and you've got to minutely get it all right, because if you get it right, you're going to succeed. If you get it wrong, you fail.
Yeah, this is going to favour the drivers who are going to be especially smooth through the corners. You want to keep a nice rotation going through the corners, get onto the power, not too early because you are just going to overdrive it into the wall, but just get on the power at the right time and you'll keep it out of the walls. You just got to be smooth around here. That's the key to Baku, smoothness.
Yeah, smoothness indeed. Certainly what you showed, I've got to say, in the League 2 race just a couple of minutes ago. We have got a little bit of a delay, by the way, to the lobby. The lobby host, i.e. TRT Bunty, was a little bit late in traffic. So, Bunty obviously has just set up the lobby. We are now delayed another further 5 minutes, so we will be getting underway probably in and around 8:45. So, it is going to be quite a late one, but hopefully you're going to be sticking with us, of course. F1 Esports is just eating out into our time. Very nice indeed, I've got to say, but that presents more opportunity for viewers right at the end of the stream, of course. And obviously, Mike, looking into the driving lineup a little bit further as well, we'll have to try and find stuff to talk about in the 5-minute delay that we've got. But obviously, in terms of the driver lineup, anybody else catching your eye in terms of their team selection?
Let me just load it up. 2 seconds. Have a look here.
Well, Mike does that, of course. I'll try and keep everyone entertained. We have got now 11 drivers, by the way, within the lobby. I'm just sitting in the lobby at the minute. Hopefully, we're going to be seeing some really good action, as I say, out on track. VER, I've got to say, Mika had a really good race last night in FRL, which I commentated on. Marlon and Jurgen as well. Very strong lineup for VER, of course, if they delve into that reserve. And hopefully, as you say, it is going to be really good, interesting. Have you got the driver lineup now, by the way?
Yeah, so one team definitely taking my eye at the moment is IFR with Tom Robbo and Rudy. Rudy over the past, I want to say the past 12 months he has absolutely excelled and has kept on improving. So definitely one to keep an eye on, I think, tonight.
Yeah, definitely, I think, and honestly, it is such a strong lineup. Of course, as you say, Tom Robbo and Rudy, probably two of the drivers that are going places, certainly within this event as well. Tom Robbo, I know, has represented them in the PSGL event as well, so obviously has got a bit of experience in running of events in the past. FMSL as well, no points to their name so far, but they've drawn in Banstex and Angel, of course. Angel being their reserve, Banstex another driver. Not really sure in terms of how each other are in terms of pace, but we've seen with Huayam Arve, if he can put it all on the line tonight, of course, in Baku, Banstex could follow suit and then pick up the first points for FMSL.
Yeah, obviously for this team, both drivers just getting to the end. That's got to be the goal for this team. Get some points on the board. Obviously, what we don't want to see is obviously what happened last month, where an intentional crash out was done. That's what we don't want to see happen again.
Yeah, and actually, what I can do is update you on the stewards reports, and I'll have a look at the stewards reports, of course, from last week, or last month, I should say. Customs GT have got, by the way, a 5-point deduction, so I now think they're on 36 points, if I'm not mistaken, as opposed to the 41 that they're on. And that was, of course, due to a late sign-up in terms of the deadline. Deadline was extended for the team, so CGT not getting that. And looking as well at the stewards reports from the last event, LRB and TRT Bunty. TRT Bunty got awarded a 5-second time penalty and 10 penalty points, up for a lap 1 collision with him. Borja and Janiek as well, no further action in terms of that. The footage was captured with a mobile phone, and that is not allowed within the rules. FFC, No Star and Janiek Janiek as well. 10-second time penalty and 15 penalty points to Janiek for dangerous driving. And then that the big stewards decision that was caught, of course. FMSL have got a qualifying ban coming in tonight. That is a result of 35 penalty points being picked up and a reprimand for the team. Crashing on purpose and dangerous driving, as you rightfully said, Mike. And obviously, that is totally against what we're all about here in EML. This is a team event. It's a team event first. Every single driver, every single team has got to read the rules properly. And if you don't read the rules properly, obviously it is one of those things where you are going to get punished by the students and the stewards, and that's what we've seen, of course, in the case of FMSL.
Yeah, absolutely. And well, I mean, I was the one that caught the intentional crash out. So it just goes to show, guys, just because you may not be having stream time doesn't mean someone's not watching.
Exactly. You don't want a Welshman watching you, that is for sure. Certainly. Hopefully we are going to be getting going. We've got short qualifying, of course, 26 laps, of course, around here at the Baku City Circuit. And the Baku City Circuit, as I've already mentioned, 6 kilometres. And then it is one of those tracks where it is one of those tracks where it favours the absolute brave. And it's one of those tracks where I really enjoy commentating on. I don't think I've had a bad race around in Azerbaijan, apart from the infamous collision that me and Mr. Honeybadger had back in the day in an FRL race. I think I've already told this story about 10 million times on the EML, on the League Racing TV. But I try to go around the outside of the castle section, and yeah, you can probably have that imagined.
You tried to go the outside, in the castle section?
Yeah.
It's a good job you're sat in the comms box now.
It is. It is. I apply my trade to LOEF2, and actually, speaking of LOEF2, I got reverse grid pole around here on Monday in Baku, and I was very proud until somebody tried to dive on me down the inside line in towards turn 1 and caused me to spin out the race and pretty much ruin it. So thank you, Nathan.
Well, we do have 20 drivers now in the lobby, so we're just waiting on the go-ahead to get underway. But yeah, Baku, I mean, as a track, obviously we got the pretty much M4 motorway, let's just say, down our main street. That's probably where we're going to see most of the overtaking opportunities come from. Are there any other opportunities that you look at and think, actually, this could be a good shout?
I've seen moves happen at turn 14 before. At the top of the hill, the highest point on the track at turn 14. I've seen moves happen around the inside and the outside line through there, especially if a driver picks up damage and you're worthy of the fact to try and get that position. I've seen moves happen there. Also down into turn 16 could be a possibility of an overtaking opportunity. But obviously, as you said, Mike, I think turn 1, turn 3, probably the nailed-on opportunities for overtaking. But like we saw actually in League 1 and in League 2, moves do happen down in towards turn 2 as well. So it is going to be interesting to see whether drivers can start pulling off those moves. There are quite a few opportunities for overtaking, but it is very, very difficult, and these drivers have got to be wary, not only of themselves, but, of course, of the track limits and, of course, of the track in question. We are just moments away, of course, from getting in towards qualifying. And, Mike, I am going to come across to you. Who do we think is going to be showing the pace in qualifying?
To be honest, I think IFR Tom Robbo is going to be one to keep an eye on, and FRL Ron. So they're my two, and obviously we gotta say Pengu as well, just for the simple fact it's Pengu.
I've just clicked on, actually, that Pingu is actually racing once again, which is brilliant. These the Penguin puns are going to be coming out in full force tonight here in Baku. But, of course, we have got 20 drivers driving out on track. Two drivers representing, of course, each team, 10 teams in total. And if you are just tuning in for the first time and don't know what this is the EML Premier League. Of course, we had League 1 and League 2 a little bit earlier on. And now, finally, we are getting going in towards qualifying. Hopefully, they don't exploit the little bit of a glitch where if drivers don't ready up within the 30-second time limit and they don't select their tyre allocation, it might kick them out the lobby. That is a newfound glitch. I saw that on last night, in fact, in FRL. And drivers, if they don't ready up, like Banstex and the two FVR drivers have, they might just kick that off the lobby. But hopefully that is not the case, and hopefully that isn't the case as we now go, of course, across to the track here in Azerbaijan. And the first thing to note, of course, Mike, beautiful blue skies and sunshine.
Yep, and everyone's going to be absolutely pleased with that. Obviously, nothing worse than a wet Azerbaijan circuit, and obviously these guys don't have to deal with it in qualifying, but who knows what the race is saying as we got the first group of drivers coming out on track now.
We have indeed got the first couple of cars coming out on track. I think Ron might be one of the first one. He selected a set of medium compound tyres as well. Mitchie, in fact, is the first man out on track for TTG. And, of course, TTG sporting that customary red-white livery. It's a bit like the Sunderland colours, to be honest, if I've got to be honest. But Mitchie now coming down in towards turn number 3. And he'll be hoping, along with Hadler, to try and get a really good result on. I know Hadler represented in the PSGL last week. He didn't have the right thing of the right way of things, of course, in that event. Mitchie has also represented them within the PSGL event, and honestly, he has got a lot of good pace, so watch out for him. I think TTG, obviously, with leading the standings, a little bit of pressure's off, but around a track like Baku, the pressure is never off.
Yeah, never discount Baku at all. I mean, you could be leading like TTG is right now. Both of your drivers could end up crashing out of this race, and that's your lead completely wiped out and possibly lost as well.
Yeah, definitely. And Mitchie coming up in towards the top of the hill, turn 14. This is the corner that I mentioned about trying to go around the outside there. I have seen that done before, but whether we see that, of course, tonight, will fortune favour the brave, is what we can really say. So now Mitchie comes on board, then in towards turn number 15, and then through 16, of course, through the left-hander, and then now through the S section, of course, where XL Dillon actually crashed out in the League One race, coming through on the final lap of the race through 18 and 19. I'm going to turn the HUD off and everything, so you can get a full bird's eye view of this track, and of course of the halo graphic that will appear on your screen around about now, as now we come across the line, pretty much to start us off on this lap, on board with Mitchie. And Mitchie, of course, will be hoping for a very good lap time, of course, out on track. In towards turn 1, reaching in excess of speed of 205 mile an hour down towards turn 1. Nearly invalidates actually on the exit of turn 1. But now coming through in towards turn 2, the 90-degree left-hander, and then another 90-degree left-hander, of course, coming up at the bottom of the straight, coming now down in towards turn 3. Opens up that second DRS zone, of course, as he now runs down in towards turn number 3. And let's see what his first sector, of course, is going to be like. Now through turn 3, and then towards turn 4. Have a feeling he's actually backed out this lap.
I'm not sure, but yeah, he's a DGT glitches there that was getting away Yogurt. I'm on board with Yogurt at the moment. I'm not sure if Mitch has backed out, but I will explain.
Just try and run. Yeah, I'll just try and see. I think it looks like he is going. Unless it's just me being me and thinking these cars are going to go about 200 mile an hour through every single corner, Mitchie is still on board a lap. And I think he isn't invalidated coming through now in towards turn 14. But we'll see what he decides to do. We'll keep on board with this lap. I know Yogurt is on a lap, so I'll catch on board with him shortly. But now Mitchie down in towards turn 15 and then in towards turn 16. And looking through the middle sector, 118.3. I don't think he's on a really good time here, to be honest. It is about 20 seconds from here towards the line, but Mitchie will be hoping for a 138, 139 sort of region, possibly. So now comes out of turn 19, in towards turn 20, clearly on a lap, because he is taking the thinner lines as possible, down in towards turn 20, so I think that might have just been my eyesight and me going absolutely crazy. As now we come towards the line, finally on board with Mitchie, to the line he comes, and a 143.4 to start off the night, but he was invalidated, so he did back off that lap.
Yeah, but we got Tom Robbo to the line now, and it's going to be a 38.9, a good opening lap there from Tom Robbo.
Yeah, really good. I've caught on board with Yogurt as well, the SXT driver, of course. The Dutchman will be hoping for a good result as Hadler goes quickest with a 38.9, about 400s quicker. Javier comes in with a 38.6, and guess who was given a little bit of slipstream? Yogurt, 56.6 across the line there in fourth. Pingu is also on a lap coming now through turns 18 and 19. That turn 18-19 complex can really catch you out if you haven't got a downforce setup. Javier the wide on top, Hadler in second, Tom Robbo in third. Is now Pingu on the run towards the line, waddling his way towards the line. Yep, there's the first pun. Pingu now coming across the line, and a 40.3, he goes fifth.
Yep, but FCC Johnny managed to get into sixth, and have you just spotted something? Mitchie's
crashed out. Mitchie is out of the session. I'm not sure where that might be.
Castle.
It's in the second sector. Is it the Castle section?
Castle section.
Castle section. Rudy goes quickest, 38.3.
And obviously that corner, the Castle section, of 8, 9, 10 and 11 definitely is the most scary corner that you're going to find on this track. But I am seeing a lot of drivers kind of, after they go through 5 and 6, they just tend to back out of that lap then if they don't get the...
Oh, Mika's in the wall! Sorry to cut you across there, Mike. I was on board with Mika into the castle section wall. Totally misjudged that coming through turn 8, and Mika in the wall, literally almost like Charles Leclerc in qualifying a couple of years ago. That's exactly similar to what he's just done, and Mika is at the session and VR down already one driver.
I wonder if the team radio is going to be exactly the same as Charles Leclerc.
I think it might be.
Bundy invalid. We got Miku coming to the line now on the set of the medium compound tyre, so we'll see where this puts him. 39.8, not a bad lap on the mediums.
Yeah, and look at his teammate as well, Ron, obviously on a set of mediums as well, 39.5. I think he's backed off actually on this lap, the FRL man. And that FRL car is actually looking very similar to the VER car, if I've got to be honest, as now Ron comes through 18 and 19, clearly not on board with a lap, but a 39.5. He is about 3/10 quicker than his teammate at this stage. Pingu, Kreiser, Vilches, Bunty is now on a lap, by the way, down in towards, I think this is turn 3 he's approaching, yeah, down in towards turn 3. The camera angle just threw me off slightly there, but the TLT man now down in towards turn 3. It is Rudy though out on top, and Rudy's lap time 38.3 so far. Everyone else 38.6, 38.8. Rudy's time might be the one to beat.
Surely not. I can't have got a prediction right. Surely not.
You might have, for the first time ever. The IFR man's doing a phenomenal job, 38.3. But because he set such a high lap time, will the track degradation and the track elevation get into play for him to actually set a quicker lap time? And it's going to be interesting because he set such a quick lap. Can he respond then to back that up with an even quicker lap, is what I'm trying to say.
Oh, time will tell us. I believe we got Eagle coming into the pits. I'm not sure who that is behind him. I think it might be Yogurt who's tucked in right behind him. And it is. They do have Bundy who's fast approaching, who is on a flying lap. 14.4 in the middle sector.
I thought Yogurt was going to get in the way there. I was on board with Bunty coming through 18 and 19, and I literally thought he's backed out. I think just invalidated, maybe coming out of turn 18. Or has he just run out of fuel? I think he might have run out of fuel, actually. He has.
Yeah, he's run out of fuel.
So Bunty ran out of fuel. He might have been trying to get into the pit lane. We don't know. It looks like he was preparing up for a lap. But the fuel obviously has run him out before he gets to the line. He's back into the pit lane. And of course, I think he didn't even set a lap time in Spain the last time he actually came in. Of course, after that delayed start where somebody didn't press the spectate mode, i.e. me. Rudy out on top though, Javier in second, Yogurt in third. SXT though looking quite strong so far. Javier back out of the pit lane, back onto a set of soft compound tyres. Presumably a fresh set of soft compound tyres as well. But Javier and Yogurt's times, they can improve big time, I think, on that on the times that they've set so far. Rudy at 38.3, however, again, can he set a quicker lap time is what is going to be the key now in the second part of qualifying.
Yeah, it's very intriguing as we've got just over 9 minutes to go here in qualifying. A lot of drivers on their outlap. I believe we got Pingu about to get underway. His teammate did not want to give him substitute mode down the straight, so no teamwork going on there from the CGT drivers.
Yeah, Vilches is coming through the final corner. I think he backed off that lap, so he's probably told Pingu, you know what, just go. And yeah, Pingu is going to be coming across the line. Probably one of the first drivers, I think, to come across the line to set up onto the second laps, of course, within this stint. Rudy go out on top, Javier in second, Pingu on a lap now, coming across the line to start us off on this lap, on board with the CGT man, now coming through turn 1, and then in towards turn number 2. 90-degree left-handers, of course, to start off, as we now come through turn 2. Rudy will still out on top, Javier in second, Yogurt in third. Tom Robbo has just started a lap in behind as well, so it'll be interesting to see if he can improve on a 38.9. Pingu now down in towards turn 3.
I'm on board with Tom Robbo, so we'll be able to compare the sector times to each other.
We will indeed. Pingu coming through turn 4 as he now comes through turn 5, in fact, and then in towards the left and right of 6 and 7 before the infamous castle section, of course. Is now Pingu through the end of the first sector. Not too bad through the first sector there by Pingu. Dips it down to first gear. The flame tower is towering over the circuit there in the foreground of shot. He's now come down in towards turn 8, and then through the castle, turn 7 I should say, then in towards turn 8, now through the castle section, where Mika of course crashed through turn 9, 10, 11, and then through the left-hander of course at turn 12, and this is pretty much the highest point on the track, out of turn 13, and now in towards turn 14, right at the top of the hill, and then of course as you glimpse the flying towers on the right-hand side, Pingu on board with this lap, not taking the esports line actually. Esports line can take you a lot of time, but you can pick up a bit of floor damage. Through the middle sector again, Pingu not looking too bad. How's Tom Robbo looking on his lap?
He is half a second up in the middle sector.
So he might be one to watch. Then Pingu then coming down through the final corner. Hawaii Marve has retired, of course. The other driver of Banstex has got to retire, of course, because both FMSL drivers have got a qualifying ban. Pingu on the run to the line will quickly run above with Tom Robbo as well as he approaches the line as well. Pingu does improve, he goes up to 6th, but what is Tom Robbo doing now to the line? And he goes 2nd behind his teammate, 38.4. He lost a little bit of time, I think, in that final sector, because I was expecting him to go a little bit quicker, but Tom Robbo there in 2nd position. Rudy coming out of the middle sector as well. We'll see what his middle sector is like. I think he's backed off on this lap, he's invalidated.
Yeah, so I was on board with Tom Robbo for the entirety of his lap. The only place where I think he may have lost a decent bit of time is obviously turn 15. I think you mentioned it with the esports line going over that curb, and he tried that curb and made a slight bit of contact with the wall, so he may have lost a bit of momentum on the exit, and of course maybe a little bit of front wing as well, which cost him in the final sector.
Yeah, of course, you've got to have a really good hunkered down full setup, of course, around here in Baku, and it's one of those tracks where if you really hurt your chances, the chances are you're going to be ending up in the wall, like we've seen with Michi, Mika, and Hawaii Marve, of course, retiring within the pit lane. Modesto, Modestroll on a lap. Kodoningolo is also on a lap, and I think he's furthest on, actually, of the two FVR boys. Of course, FVR did a very good job, of course, within the PSGL event on Friday. I will keep mentioning that, by the way, the PSGL event. Rudy out on top, Tom Robbo 2nd, Javier in 3rd. Kodoningolo now running down toward the line. Bit of a mouthful to say in terms of the name, but it comes across the line to go 3rd. Good lap time by Kodoningolo. Modesto, if he's anywhere near the pace of Kodoningolo, he is quicker than him.
We could have a new provisional pole sitter right here as TTG Hadler, 7 times up in the middle sector. This is on course to beat Rudy's time.
Yeah, let's see. Now coming through turn 19 and then in through the kink of turn 20. Rudy out on top, Tom Robbo in 2nd. Kodoningolo in 3rd, but Hadler is 6/10 up, as you say, on this lap, 38.9. Can he beat Rudy's? Thomas Morlon goes 4th. No, he goes 3rd in the end. Hadler loses time in that final sector, similar to Tom Robbo, and he's behind Tom Robbo and only goes 3rd. So clearly now, the ball is really in FBR's court, because what is Modesto doing? Modesto obviously crashed coming through turn 15, which is why I went a little bit at the top of the hill. He crashed coming through turn 15, right side end plate damage on the car. He's back into the pit lane. It was looking like a good lap up to that point, so I think Yogurt has just gone 5th as well.
Yeah, and for GRT, Bunty and Modestroll, they're only going to get one real chance now to set a lap, so they need to make sure that it is valid and they do finish the lap. See, at the moment, Modestroll is starting behind Mitch, who crashed out earlier in the session, and he doesn't really want that.
Yeah, he doesn't really want that. He has got a lot of pace, however, and of course, safety cars at an absolute premium. You had plenty of them in League 2. There was plenty, of course, in League 1 as well. Kaiser not taking the white lines, I've got to say, in towards the pit lane there. Of course, pit entry are going to be watched by the stewards. They're certainly going to be watched by me and Mike in terms of the pit entries as well, especially within the race. Banstex now is about to start us off, I think, on a lap, unless he's just getting his setup in. He is on a set of medium compounded tyres, and I really hope, I'm going to ride on board with him just for the sake of everyone. We'll really hope he's going to come into the pit lane here, because if he does, that'd be fantastic. He's right off to the left-hand side. And I thought he was going to crash into the pit lane there, but he's back into the pit lane, and that is good to see. So he's obviously just getting his setup on.
Yes, we got CGT, which is only marginally down in his time right now. I'm not sure if he's going to bail out, come into the pits, chuck on a fresh set, but he is marginally down on his time at the moment.
Yeah, coming through the final corner as he backed off, coming through the final sector. I think he's going to run to the line. Don't think he's going to get actually time to get another lap in, possibly, by the time he makes it round. Vilches does improve by 0.2 per second in the end in that final sector, 40.9. He stays in 14th position. Bunty, Modestal still yet to get lap times in as well on the board. Still, Rudy out on top. IFR looking quite strong. Rudy is about to start up on another lap as he now runs toward the line. And we're going to take you on board with this, with the halo graphic, of course, as Matt come down in towards turn number 1. And flies through turn number 1. Again, takes a wide exit coming down to turn 1. But now Rudy, going to look to try and improve. 38.3 on this lap time. I think that is his teammate who's just came out the pit lane. Very nicely indeed. Tom Robbo down in towards turn 3. He will get out the way for sure. But now, Rudy in towards turn 3. Tom Robbo gets out the way. And now committed in towards turn 3. Then through the right-hander of turn number 4. It's looking like a nice competitive lap so far from Rudy. A 38.3, of course, in terms of his lap time through the first sector. I think it's around a 34 through the first sector, so not a bad first sector at all from Rudy.
Yeah, absolutely, just under 2 times up on his first sector time. And the interesting thing, obviously, with Tom Robbo being directly behind, the chance of the slipstream is going to be given back. So a little bit of contact with the castle wall there for Rudy, and
didn't get away with it.
Could be side pod damage.
It could be side pod damage. He runs so wide coming out of turn 12. Maybe the rhythm has just been checked slightly, but now we'll take the timing back up. The timing tower back up. 38.3 from Rudy out on top. Tom Robbo in second. Hadler in third. Cut on Ngolo in fourth. Ron now might be the one to watch out for. You said about the FRL team. Ron is now on a lap coming in towards turn 4. There is a yellow flag coming through sector 1 and 2. I think that's purely because of the amount of drivers that's on an out lap. But Ron through the first sector, obviously now on a set of soft compound tyres, you imagine he's going to try and improve big time.
Yeah, absolutely, and Ron at the moment, a little bit of traffic to deal with. That is not going to be ideal for him, as he just throws it into the castle section. Absolutely brave there from Ron with the way he just chucked it in. But that's what you have to do. You have to just chuck it in and hope it sticks.
Yeah, you do. Ron, 39.5, of course, his personal best lap now with his teammate, I think, just off to the left-hand side of him. Marlon gets out the way. And that is not ideal, to be honest. He could have asked Marlon to just go into turn 15, but realised, of course, because there's traffic, because Michelizzi is in front of him. And actually, Michelizzi's his teammate. What am I thinking of? As Tom Robbo has crashed out on track, so Tom Robbo not going to get an improvement on his time.
He's in the pits. Both IFR drivers in the pits. This session's over and done with, as we got Ron now. He's going to get the toe of Miku, and to the line he'll come. What is this going to be for the
9th? Barely an improvement, to be honest. 3/10 improvement, but barely an improvement in the end by Ron. 38.8. Matt is on the lap for TRT. I think he's one of the first out there on a proper lap. The Frenchman now coming through the final couple of corners, but Rudy out on top. Tom Robbo in second. Hadler, what is he doing on his lap time? He's coming through the end of the first sector, I think. So we'll see. Now coming out of turn 5 and then in towards 6 and 7. We'll see what Hadler's time is going to be as we have reached the end of the session. Through the first sector, what is he like?
He is around about 800 of a second up on his previous best in sector 1, but as you know, sector 2 is where you're going to find your time and really dictate what kind of lap you're going to do as we go up the hill now through 11 and 12. How much of this curve is Hadler going to use, if he uses it at all?
I think a lot. If he wants to try and get pole position, I think a lot. Is he going to take the Esports time? That's exactly what he wants to do. It has cost him a bit of time, actually, coming out of the middle sector. We'll see what his middle sector is like. I think he's still up on his time, however. So Hadler, 38.4. 38.3 is Rudy's time. What is Hadler going to do? Colin Ngolo and Yogura also on lap times as well, out on track. There is a yellow flag in sector 2. Not sure who that might be for. An improvement, I think Modesto has just got 11th. Yoni Evi has gone 10th as well for FFC. But Hadler now running to the line. TTG needless. Mitchie down in 17. Hadler now running to the line. Is he going to go on pole? Yes, he does! 38 flat! What a lap time that is! But what is Yogurt doing? I think Yogurt has backed off Colin Ngolo. I think it's the only one for FBR that can actually try and manage to try and challenge Hadler. But he might not be on a lap either as he now comes halfway down the straight. Hadler now still out in pole position. Rudy in second. What is Colin Ngolo's lap? And he goes pole as well! A 38 flat! What a lap time by the Spaniard! He goes quickest ahead of Hadler. Don't think Marlon's on a lap. Yogurt's not on a lap either. Is Bunty on a lap? I don't think he's going to get pole. He goes 14th. That's the end of qualifying. Colin Ngolo doing a recon of TTML. Colin Ngolo out on top by 200ths of a second from Adler.
Absolutely incredible stuff there. So close between the top two.
absolutely unbelievable, and that's why we like these EML team events, because anything can happen in terms of qualifying. But Cullen and Golo out on top, Hadler in second, and almost looked like Hadler had it. I thought that was a time that wasn't going to be beaten. Cullen and Golo, though, on his lap time, absolutely sensational. The FBR, man, this is why the team is going places. FBR have been really, really good in that team event. Modesto's obviously down in 13th. You can take that with a pinch of salt. He's a lot quicker than that. Cullen and Golo, though, out on top. Hadler in second. FBR versus TTG. It's like the PSGL event all over again with IFR third and fourth.
Absolutely, and obviously TTG having Hadler up there is fantastic for their chances in retaining their lead.
It is indeed, as we now will take you through the full grid order, and it is Cullen Golo, the Spaniard, out on top, 200ths of a second from Hadler in second, with Rudy in third, Tom Rubble there in fourth, Yogurt in fifth for SXT. It looked almost as if Yogurt and Javier were going to get third and fourth at one point. Marlon there splitting the two, with Marlon there in sixth, Javier in seventh, Matt Nat in eighth for TRT, good showing from him, Ron in ninth, Pingu running off the top 10, Michelitti, I think, very fortunate to start outside the top 10, the alternative strategy works around here. Yonievi in 12th, Modesto in 13, Bunty in 14, Kaiser in 15, Vilches in 16, Michi down in 17, Mika, Bansex and Hawaii Marv, of course, FMSL having that qualifying ban, Mika and Michi, of course, crashing out the session. They didn't set any times either. Cullen and Golo out on top, however, Hadler in second. We are going to take you through now a track introduction of the Baku City Circuit. Welcome back, everyone, to EML Premier, and we are here, of course, for round 3 of the championship as we take in the Baku City Circuit for the Azerbaijan Grand Prix. And, of course, my name is James Head. Michael Edwards joining me alongside in the commentary box. Let us take a look, then, at this track in question, the Baku City Circuit, where the old meets the new, 6 kilometres in length, 3.7 mile, 20 turns, 2 DRS zones, 1 down in towards turn 1, 1 down in towards turn 3, and, of course, where the old meets the new. A lot of elevation change, especially in the old part of the circuit around the old castle. And now we'll have a look at the tyre compound as well. The C5, C4 and C3 compound tyres. The softs, mediums and the hards, of course, to you and me. And the softs, of course, are what the top 10 are going to be starting on. The mediums and hards, that will be deciphered out between the bottom half of the field as well. But now, we will get us straight in towards the formation lap, and to remind you of the standings, of course, coming into tonight, TTG holding around a 40-point advantage coming into tonight there on the left-hand side of your screen. But Mike, as we mentioned earlier on, 10 points between 6 teams, it is very close in terms of the team standings. But what on earth is everybody's strategy going to be like in this race?
I have absolutely no idea. Soft medium's definitely a good option. Soft hard's probably the safe option for the top 10. Medium, you can stretch them to the softs for the end, or you can pit early for a set of hards. All strategies are available for these guys.
Yeah, all strategies are available. I'll flick onto the strategy in a couple of seconds, coming through the end of the first sector, and now flick on board back. Predict the pit stop strategy I just caught there, lap 5 to 7, and then lap 12 to 13, if I'm not mistaken. There is the tyre compounds that everyone is on. Of course, top 10 qualifying on a set of soft compound tyres. But further down the field, of course, Mike, Kaiser on that set of soft compound tyres, and the 2 FMSL drivers, Bansex and Hawaii Marve, on that set of soft compound tyres as well. In theory, they're going to be making a good deal of progress throughout the field. However, track temperature and track wear, tyre wear is quite high around here.
Yeah, and even though they're on the softs, they need to make these moves really stick in the first 3 laps. Because if these mediums are able to stick with the softs, stay in the DRS train, it's going to be very difficult for these drivers outside the top 10 on the soft tyres to really make the progress that they want.
Yeah, and the likes of Cullen and Golo, the likes of Hadler, right at the top of the field, they've got to try and make sure that they get as good a start as possible to try and counteract the likes of Rudy, the likes of Tom Rubble, both IFR drivers, of course, starting in behind. Yogurt, Javier, the 2 SXT drivers, showing a good turn of speed, of course, within qualifying. But what is going to happen in this race? Are we going to get a guarantee of safety cars like we had in League 2 and League 1?
I would hope not. I've seen enough safety cars tonight, but it is Baku and the chances are incredibly high.
Yeah, the chances are incredibly high. We are now getting the drivers onto the grid. We have got a lot of a tailback, I've got to say. Mika, Bansex and Marve still yet to join right at the back, so we might be a little bit of a while for them to join. And there was a glitching car just coming across on my screen there. Did you see that when I flicked? Yeah, there was a glitching car. I think in third position, if I'm not mistaken, but there we are. Mike, I am going to come across to you. Who on earth is your top three?
I don't want to play this game anymore. Top three, I'm going to go for John Robbo for the win, Hadler second, and Joe, I'm going to throw out Joe, I'm going to go Pengu third. Go on, Pengu.
Pingu down in 10th position, and now the 5 red lights are coming on here for the Baku City Circuit, for the Azerbaijan Grand Prix, and it's lights down, away we go. Hadler gets a good start, Colin N'Golo will react, however, and he leads down in towards turn 1. Tom Robbo down the inside line, Leany made it 3 wide, with both IFR boys trying to sandwich the TTG man in. There's a spinner through turn 1, and that is Marlon, that is fun. Coming out of turn 1, Bansex, Mika, Marve is already up a few positions, there's a lot of carnage coming through turns 2 and 3, bit of a pincer movement through there, but Colin N'Golo leads, Hadler in second, Tom Robbo in third, Rudy in fourth, Yoga in fifth, Yoga right on the back of Rudy, down into the braking zone of turn 3, of course, where Raikkonen crashed a couple of years ago. Yoni Evi and Bunty side by side, and there's front wing carnage coming through turn 3. No front wing at all for Modesto, I think it is. Modesto has lost entirety of his front wing. Running over there, of course, was Yoni Evi, the FFC driver. Bunty now down the inside line. A lot of carnage on lap 1, and it's to be expected, to be honest.
Yeah, absolutely. I believe. I'm going to call him Mode Stroll. Yeah, Mode Stroll picking up wing damage. I did see it fly off his car. He's clipped the inside wall there, and it's gone for a bit of arse spin, but he does manage to stay out of everyone's way. But yeah, as we saw in League 1 and 2, so turn 2, going too wide there, even in turn 3 as well, is risking your race. You saw how many front wings went flying.
Yeah, a lot of front wings went flying. There's more damage as well. Micheletti, I think, has crashed at the top of the hill coming through turn 15. He's spun around. Luckily, I don't think he's got any damage. The FRL man recovers the car. Bunty is now spun coming out of turn 15 as well. So Bunty is now around. It's already a war of attrition, and we're not even through lap 1. Colin N'Golo leads the way. Hadler in second. Tom Over in third. And at one point on lap 1, the front 3 were well away from Rudy, who has responded as Mika has retired out of the race, coming now through the final sector, and that might deploy a VSC, and it is a VSC. Not a full safety car, however, that could be deployed up to a full safety car, of course, but a VSC is out on track, and to be honest, it should be a full safety car given how much carnage we had in lap 1.
Yeah, so what I think went on there, Mika got out the way of Marlon. I think what he's done, he's hit the inside wall at turn 19 on the right-hander, and I think that's what's whipped his wheel off. But hard tyres going on for Old Stroll and Miku, and obviously the mediums on for Marlon. Which honestly, mediums not a bad shout, to be honest.
Yeah, not a bad shot at all. Looking further down the field as well, we'll have a look at the position changes while that has happened. Michi has gained 7 positions. A lot of position losses, of course. Marlon, Modesto, and Michelizzi and Bunty have all lost positions, as well as Rudy, who's lost one off from his teammate. But we are back underway. Green flag racing here on lap 2. Michi right on the back of Pingu, running in towards the castle section, and the German right on the back of Pingu, and the Spaniard, of course, will be looking to try and fight him off. He's now come to the top of the hill through turn 13 and then in towards turn 14, but Colin N'Golo leads the way, and he's 1.2 seconds clear. The FER man has absolutely blitzed away from Hadler so far. Tom Robbo in third, Rudy in fourth. Everyone's spread out like a washing line so far, however, will be all condensed down as the DRS will be enabled next lap around. Michi still on the back of Pingu, Marve as well on the back of Kaiser, running down in towards turn 15. Don't think we're going to see any moves, but potentially down the straight, Mike, we are going to see some, because Michi looks right on the back of Pingu, and certainly Marve looks right on the back of Kaiser.
Yeah, but as Michi using his overtake, he's going to draw alongside. You'll have the inside line, but is he going to have the legs to get the move done?
I think Pingu's responding maybe with using the ERS as well, and this is why it is pretty much a drag race down towards turn 1, and Mitchie is normally late on the brakes down towards turn 1. Late on the brakes he goes, Pingu just comes across him slightly, but Pingu manages to keep the position in P9. However, it's still side by side, and now Mitchie down the inside line. Never listened to the head commentator in League Racing TV. Mitchie's through, and he's into P9. Kaiser didn't get the move done on Yoni Eve, and Huaimova didn't get the move done on Kaiser either. So Mitchie through, and he's into P9, and this is already shaping up into a bit of a battle, because Vilches now can help out his fellow CGT man, because he's just behind in 11th.
Yeah, and crucial for Mitchie there on the run down into turn 3 is he was the one who picked up the RS as well, so he didn't have to use that much ERS to stay ahead of Pingu being.
Yeah, and look at actually Hadler getting really, really under pressure now from Tom Robbo through the castle section for the third time. We go. Rudy nearly went into the wall there on the right-hand side. Did well to recover the car, but Cotton and Gola leads the way. Hadler there in second. Tom Robbo in third, and now Tom Robbo was within 0.6 of a second this last lap around, of course, with the rainbow going across the middle, of course, representing the We Racers 1 campaign. Like to see how that goes in towards Saudi Arabia, of course, later on in the season. Cotton and Gola leading the way. Hadler in second. Tom Robbo in third. Tom Robbo looks close enough. Hadler's going to be out of DRS range, and is 0.8 of a second enough to try and get the move done as Cotton and Gola's clutch out the lead.
Oh my god!
And it's a VSC. It's a VSC deployed.
Well, that's just saved Hadler. And he's boxing, he's in the pits. Hadler immediately into the pit lane, and so's Ruby.
Yeah, and Jorgensen as well. I think Tom Robbo's had to go on another lap because it's a full safety car. The safety car has now been deployed, and look at that for a camera angle. Yogurt literally underneath the safety car has came into the pit, and all of these guys have pretty much got a free pit stop now. Hadler, Rudy, Yogurt, Matnat as well into the pit lane. All of these guys are going to be picking up. CGT are going to be double boxing as well with Pingu and Vilches. And Vilches is actually in not the same box, actually, as Pingu. And that's one thing that we've got to talk about, of course, with multiplayer cars. You might not end up in the same box as your teammate.
Yeah, absolutely. And a key thing for...
and I think Rudy's just gone into the back of Hadler. The safety car was... the safety car didn't move out the way coming down in towards turn 3. But it has now, and they've all been released, but the delta times are going to be something like 10 seconds possibly for these guys.
Well, the safety car likes to do what the safety car likes to do. I mean, I've seen the safety car absolutely take out drivers before. And you can't condone that kind of driving from the safety car, to be honest.
Oh, you can't. You can't, to be honest. But Tom Robbo leads the way. Javier in second. And actually, with the safety car, does it actually favour Tom Robbo more than the likes of Hadler and Rudy have already pitted? Because the safety car came out when these guys were in the pit lane, so they've essentially got a free pit stop. But Tom Robbo, in terms of the gap between himself and Hadler, it's 18 seconds the gap. 18 seconds, I think, is nearly enough time to get out in front of Hadler. So Tom Robbo actually could be net leading this race.
We'll have to see now as Tom Robbo does pull into the pit lane. We'll have to keep an eye, make sure he stays within the white lines.
And he does. It's a good effect as well. Tom Robbo now into the pit lane. There's now Tom Robbo into the pit lane. Javier there in second, one and third. They all come into the pit lane as well. Pit window is now open. That 5 out to 8 on to set of medium compounded tyres. Tom Robbo now into the pit lane. Where is Hadler? Hadler is running down in towards turn 1. Of course, these guys will not stick to a delta time once they come across the line as well. It will be a choice of catching the safety car. And Tom Robbo is ahead by a mile.
Yeah, that's worked out brilliantly for Tom Robbo. I was going to mention earlier when it was a VSC, what it was like in League 2 earlier, because there was a VSC early on. We saw a lot of these softlands coming to the pits to jump into a set of mediums, and it didn't work out for those who jumped into the pits, because the guys that stayed out, obviously their tyres are still pretty relatively fresh now, so they're not really gaining much with the 2 or 3 lap fresher tyres.
Yeah, definitely not. Ruben Teve, by the way, in the comment section. I will filter through your comments now. Thank you to the 30 of you that are tuning in at the minute. Ruben said, stop the count, please. Yeah, FFC are right at the top of the field at the minute. And, do you know what? Might as well stop the count. It's a bit like Donald Trump and the election, to be honest, in 2021 in January. But, as we now transition back across into the live action, and one thing to note, actually, it was Tom Rubble that had a little bit of damage on the left side end plate, but luckily it's just my eyesight, so nothing has changed there.
Yeah, but looking at Tom Rubble, he's managed to get the jump on Hapler. He's got these the two FFC drivers ahead. How important would you say this is for his race to get ahead of these two guys right now on this restart?
Crucial is what I will say, because Tom Robbo, on that set of mediums, he's going to be negated somewhat, maybe with Kaiser's tyres on a set of soft compounded tyre, and of course these guys will be working together, the two FFC boys, to try and get as much of an advantage as possible on Tom Robbo. But Tom Robbo needs to nail this start, ideally, to have a chance at trying to get Kaiser and Joni Eve on, certainly I think, the first 3 laps underneath the safety car restart, and if we stay clean in terms of the action, Joni Eve and Kaiser will have a distinct advantage, but Tom Rubble needs to get a good start. So I think it's absolutely crucial for Tom Rubble to come to get Kaiser certainly off the start, and then on 4 lap pressure mediums he can get Joni Eve as well.
I just spotted a very interesting thing. The man in P11, TTG Mitch, on the set of the soft tyres. Now they're going to be able to heat up quicker than the mediums, so you shouldn't really have a problem with getting him up to temp as we get back underway. But the grip advantage, he's going to be trying to fly his way through all these guys ahead of him.
Yeah, but the biggest disadvantage I think that Mitchie is going to have is on that set of soft compounded tyres. He is going to be in a big old DRS train, and I always say this, and no matter any commentary that I do, whether it's for EML, for TTML, or for any other league, if you're stuck so far down the DRS train, it is literally impossible to try and make a move. Around a track like Baku, where you've got a 1 kilometre straight, it's one of those tracks where the advantage is somewhat, the disadvantage is somewhat negated. So I think Mitchie has got a really good chance to get off the safety car restart. Matt, Ron, Yavier, the lights ahead on that fresh set of mediums. He's going to be on a fresh set of softs, but if he gets ingrained in that DRS train, he is going to be so far down the field compared to the net leader. I mean, Tom Rubble's there in 3rd. Mitchie's, what, net 8th, net 9th, I think, at the minute, with the 2 FFC boys, obviously, to come in and Bunty. So Mitchie is only going to be 8th, possibly, when these guys come into the pit lane. And that's without, of course, taking into account the DRS trains. He's going to be so far down, that soft compounded tyres will be negated somewhat with the disadvantage of the DRS train.
Yeah, not only that, obviously with Bundy being in 7th, he's on 5 lap old medium tyres. I think we're going to see a split between Yoga and Bundy really quickly in terms of that 1 second window, and Bundy could be holding up the train behind of Javier, Ron, Matt and Mitch, obviously in behind on those soft tyres. So even if Mitch does manage to get through, as we got the safety car in this lap, it all depends on if Bunty can stick in this DRS train on the top guys, depending on how far up the order he can get. Because if he's out of DRS range, he's just going to get further and further behind with how powerful it is on this main straight.
Yeah, he should be able to, I think. Bunty has got a bit of pace, but again, that DRS train, this safety car restart looks quite quick, I think, for my liking, and Joni Eve is about to say go. I think FFC really want to get on with this, and I think they're being told by the engineers to get on with it, because look at the training behind. They're literally spread out like a washing line again, and now Tom Robbo is going to take full advantage, possibly, on Kaiser down in towards turn 1, and this is exactly what FFC didn't want, because Tom Robbo now dives it down the inside line, so late on the brakes. What a move that is down in towards turn 1. Tom Robbo through, and he's already into 2nd. Madnat and Mitchie are fighting side by side as well, as Mitchie is around the outside of turn 1. Now Madnat tries to go down the inside line, but Mitchie's so quick on that set of soft compounded tyres. He's through, and he's into 10th position as well. Kaiser is dropping down the field. We've nearly got a 2 in a bed situation with Hadler and Kaiser side by side, and Hadler stays into P3 as Yoggett has just launched a 2-way move on Rudy and Kaiser. That's probably one of the best moves I've ever seen. Yoggett is through, and he's into P4. What an overtake that is!
Yeah, Rudy's probably not going to be too happy with that, because Kaiser, he got on the brakes a little bit early, trying to obviously not go into the back of Hadler. Rudy was directly behind Kaiser, and that just allowed Jorge to really send it down the inside of the pair of them, and up at the P4 he goes.
Yeah, fantastic stuff. Yoni Eve is now under pressure as well from Tom Robbo coming to the exit of the castle section through turn 13. Yoni Eve leads the way. The Spaniard, though, under pressure from the Brit in behind. Tom Robbo looks like he's on the pace tonight. Hadler in behind as well for TTG. IFR and TTG, of course, first and second, I believe, coming into tonight as Yoni Eve takes the esports line. Coming across the curve of turn 15, doesn't get him the necessary run, and Tom Robbo, I think, without this DRS, he's going to be right on the back of Yoni Eve, and do you know what? I think there's going to be job done, possibly down towards turn 1, without the need for any DRS. We'll ride on board them without, as we come down the full entirety of the straight. Yoni Eve pulling away the ERS now in deployment, but now the red light flashing, he has got no deployment left, and now Tom Robbo is within striking distance to try and come at him. Yogurt on the back of Hadler as well. Yogurt is going to go to the inside line. Tom Robbo is not going to launch that on Yoni Eve, and Yogurt died in the inside line. He likes these late breaking moves into turn 1, he does, and now Yogurt is through, possibly into P3. Hadler's going to get boxed in, and Yogurt makes contact, and that was just silly. Cap was always going to close on the inside line, just not needed whatsoever.
Yeah, and see, looking for it, I think Tom Robbo has managed to get away without any wing damage. I think all that carbon fibre flying off was from Jorget's car itself. I'm looking at Hadler's car right now. It appears to be all in check, and Rudy right now Hadler is 1.8 seconds off the back of Tom Robbo. Rudy has a good opportunity now to get himself into a net P2.
He does indeed, and yet Hadler 1.7 seconds behind. He's been really caught out, obviously, with the Yogurt collision. Maybe he's got a little bit of rear damage, is what we could take into effect. Maybe a bit of rear side pod damage, as Rudy is still on the back of him, and he's really hassling him into the castle section. Tom Robbo again, though, got so much pace through the castle section. He's 3 tenths behind on Yoni Eve. The Spaniard doing a good job so far. Tom Robbo, though, in second. Hadler there in third. Rudy in fourth. Bunty there in fifth. Holding his own so far against these guys. It is side by side. Further down the field. As Matt Nat has pushed Yogurt into the wall. Matt Nat has pushed Yogurt into the wall. And safety car has been deployed. And Matt Nat, I think, that is what you like to call, as Hawaii Marve and Vilches, I think, picked up, certainly Hawaii Marve has picked up a 5-second penalty. Matt Nat, I'm going to be honest, that was a bit like NASCAR coming through in towards 10-14. Not on, and I think the stewards are going to take a really blunt look at that.
Yeah, I only caught on to the end of it, and I was on board with Jorget, so I didn't see the any contact from behind, but
yeah, I think Hadler's in. Hadler's into the pit lane. Bunty, Mitchie into the pit as well. Are they going sort of hard to the end, possibly? I don't know.
Front wing, yeah, he's changed his front wing, so it looked like he did pick up a bit of front wing damage from that incident.
Which is a shame, and Mitchie actually, in terms of that, he was in a different pit box to Hadler, so Mitchie is ahead of Hadler coming out the pit lane as well, but a safety car redeployed. Yoni Eve out on top, Tom Robbo in second, Rudy in third. Either one or two things happened there, to be honest, if I back up my statement. Matt Nat either pushed Yogurt into the wall because of that front wing damage, or Yogurt was literally just carried there as a result of that front wing damage, and obviously couldn't turn in, and that's why he's crashed out the race. So either one of those two things happened. It looked to me, though, as I was right on board with Matt Nat, it was sort of a push into the wall, but as I say, I'd like the stewards to have a look at that, to be honest, because we need confirmation ideally over that. I don't want to be making false promises in terms of anything on the stream. But Matt Nat, whether or not he did contact him, side by side towards 10-14 should really never happen.
Yeah, especially when he has damage as well. You know full well he's going to have to let off the throttle going through that corner. You're not going to go through there with wing damage flat out.
Yeah, and I mean, Yogurt could have backed off, but what could he have done, to be honest, though? Would he have given Matt Nat damage? More than certainly, I think, because the way they were going in towards turn 14, just at the top of the hill there, it was almost as if... well, I'm going to compare Grosjean's incident, apparently claiming Ericsson had hit him out when he spun by himself. It was kind of like... It was... I'm not drawing any comparisons to it at all, but it seemed a very similar position where he crashed. Obviously, with that front wing damage, it's a very difficult car to try and control through turn 14. I had no front wing damage on it. I had front wing damage on the F2 race on Monday in LOE, And honestly, they're so difficult to drive when you've got both your end plates missing, never mind a full front wing missing, and you have to give him a little bit of credit. He tried to do his best, his utmost, but obviously Matt Nat just wrong place, wrong time, and I'm sure the stewards will take a look at that, of course, as thought Tom Robert was coming into the pit lane there, but my eyes were deceiving me.
Yeah, I think Tom Robert may be trying to bait Ron or Javier in behind maybe box, as Bunty is in. He's going to chuck on a set of the hard tyres. We got Javier into the pits as well, as Pingu picks up a 5-second time penalty. Honestly, guys, just leave a good car and a half space between the car ahead.
Who did you say for third, by the way?
I said Bunty and Javier in. Oh, when I predicted third.
Mm-hmm.
The Pingu.
It's not looking that good for your prediction, I've got to say. Yeah, he's got 10 seconds worth of penalties, actually. I think he had a collision with, I think it was one of the FMSL drivers. I think it was via Marve, if I'm not mistaken. And obviously that bit of contact has done him not the world of good at all. He's got 10 seconds worth of penalties now. And that, of course, is going to be added onto his time, you would imagine, because he's on a set of medium compounded tyres at the end of the race. But we are back under a safety car, if you are just tuning in. Yoni Eviad on top, Tom Robert in second, Rudy in third. IFR always seem to be in a good position around here in Baku. Jensen drove a solid race in the PSGL event around here. Obviously, Tom Robert and Rudy following in their footsteps. And second and third, with the nearest team really being CGT to your chances of actually winning this race, IFR could be on for 1-2.
Yeah, and I'd like to remind you what my prediction was for the race win.
I forgot.
Who's Tom Robbo?
Tom Robbo. And it's not looking too bad, because obviously Yoni Evi's still got to come into the pit lane.
Exactly, and people say my predictions are terrible. I predict statements, and they are confirmed 100% all the time. That's why Wales always win the Six Nations.
Wales always win the Six Nations, but they never win the World Cup. Yoni Evi, though, coming in. The safety car is coming in this lap. Yoni Evi now the virtual bird monitor. He's the virtual safety car. And look at this again. The pace. He really wants to get on with this safety car restart. He's slowing up the pack a little bit more compared to the first safety car restart. But he's got to be careful because everyone in behind literally having to take avoiding action just about there. I think that was Mitchie. As now we get back underway and Tom Mobile is right on the back of Yoni Evi. Of course, they can't overtake down and towards turn one. Mitchie is already through on Band's tech, so that might be a 5-second penalty coming Mitchie's way. But now, Tom Robbo down the inside line on Yoni Evi, down in towards turn one. The IFR man is alongside. He should be through. Forces Yoni Evi out wide, and Tom Robbo is through, and the IFR man is through, and he's into the lead of the race as Pingu was crashed out of the race, coming through turn one.
My P3 prediction.
Your P3 prediction, and there's going to be no safety car, I think, either. Rudy's now right on the back of Yoni Evi, coming down in towards turn three. Can he try and get the move done? No, the Dutchman stays in behind. Modesto now through. Mostral up into 6th position. Vilches there down in 7th position. Tom Rubble, though. Yoni Evan now beginning to hold up everyone. Tom Rubble leading the way. It's a bit like Mr. Pop in League 2, where he was about 7 seconds clear. The safety cars really came out. Mitchie is going side by side further down the field as well with Michalizzi. And Michalizzi, has he got damage? Possibly, because it seems like he's really struggling. Yeah, he's got... I thought he had left side end plate damage, sorry.
He could potentially have side pod damage.
Yeah, potentially. Hadler is through down the inside line into the castle section. I think that was done just before the castle section, before you get at me in the comment section. Hadler through and he's into 11th position. Man up there in 12th, Mile on there in 13th. But Tom Rubble's already absolutely flown away from the field. 1.7 seconds. And when you get Yoni Evi nearly spinning, coming out of turn 15, and now holding up a big old train down to 6th position currently. Vilches is going to come onto the back of this as well. But Yoni Evi, pretty much like a rolling mud block at this stage.
Yep, and this is Rudy's opportunity now to get ahead, but Ron actually got a fantastic run there through 18 and 19, so if he uses his overtake, he might come to the back, as it seems to be in the end.
Yeah, Modesto was going side by side with Yave. He's got the move done. Rudy now side by side with Yoni Yave. Not going to get the move done, but Modesto is through and he's into P5. So good stuff by the FPR money. Could be up to P4 actually, because Ron really struggled coming out of turn one. Modesto just in behind on the FRL man. Tom Robbo leading the way, 2.2 seconds. The more that Jonieve holds this pack up, the less likely it is for them to win this race, unless there is another safety car. Michalizzi and Vilches now. CGT against FRL. I think FRL's going to come out on top this, using his wing moves to good effect. And now actually Mitchie, right in behind as well, tries to make it a 2 for 1 down in towards turn 3. Doesn't get the move done, but Michalizzi's through and he's into 7th position. By Marve has also made a move further down the field and he's through and he's into 15th.
And here goes Mitchie down the inside on. Mitchie's... Oh,
switchback coming out of 7, and this should be job done. Yeah, Mitchie down the inside line. What a switchback that is. The TTG man through, and he's into 8th position, but he is ingrained in this DRS train as actually his teammate, Hadler, I should say, might have just been forced into the wall, and there's a little bit of damage actually, and that's Michalizzi who's got no front wing.
Oh wow, he's dropping back now massively as Vance gets through, and this is how you should go through this corner when you have wing damage. Just get out of the way of everyone and... And
Matnat's just trying to go around the outside of turn 15, which would have been literally one of the insanest moves I think I've ever seen if he pulled that one off. Luckily he doesn't. Hadler there in 11th position as well, but Michalizzi got well out of the way then. That's exactly what Jovic should have done earlier on. Rudy now side by side with Jonieve once again. Modesto and Ron side by side, and look at the speed of the FDR man. He could get, potentially, am I dreaming, 3 of them down in towards turn 1? He's got 1 of them at least.
Yeah, he's got a run. The issue for Rudy is he's using a little bit of his the start of the massive long straight, as he has a little bit of a wobble there. Not sure if there's any contact in the end. But now with DRS, he should have the overspeed now to get this move done down the inside.
Yeah.
Job done.
Job done. Yeah, job done. Rudy Spooney's into 2nd position. And Moldstrel down the inside line. Was that a moment for Jonieve there? Moldstrel just going through.
Yeah, an absolute moment on the exit of turn 3. Big old snap at the rear end from Jonieve, and...
Oh, look at this! And Javier is down the inside of him, down in towards turn 8, and gets the job done, so really struggling with those tyres. I thought it was going to be side-by-side into the castle section. No way that was going to work out. Matnat and Hadler are nearly side-by-side into the castle section. Luckily Hadler using his common sense there to not get that move done into the castle section, not challenging me and Tom, of course, in an earlier duel that we had in F1 2017, I think. Tom leading the way though, from Rudy in 2nd, Modesto in 3rd, Mitchie on the inside line of Jonieve, job done, and Jonieve I think got floor damage as a result of that because Mitchie's doing his into P6.
Yeah, I think that might have been a slight mistake though from Mitchie, because if he doesn't pit this lap, he's going to have DRS just come straight back through again.
Yeah, he will indeed, and Mitchie doing a solid job now. TTG making their way through the field, of course, holding their own. Jonieve, however, I think is going to come back and Mitchie. DRS is now enabled once again. Jonieve is on the back, but Desto is through down towards turn 1, but Jonieve on board with. Coming now down in towards turn 1. Job done around the outside line. He's on all the tyres as well. I mean, that looked pretty easy, and Jonieve's through. He's into P6, and I think we saw Hadler get past a Matnat as well, and he's now through, and he's into P8. So TTG now beginning to make a little bit of wave movement coming through the field, as now Mitchie is going to repay that favour, and he's through. He's into P6 once again. That battle between the TTG and the FFC, man, really good battle so far.
Very good battle, but I think now this is the moment where Mitchie can really get away from Jonieve now, as in this middle sector he does seem to be so much quicker, as we got a yellow flag, and I believe that's... Who's that around? Is that...
Vilches?
Oh, Vilches.
Yeah, Vilches has spun. I didn't see his timing movement. That was coming through turn 2. I think he's just gone straight on there, coming through turn 2. No damage on the car. Matnat has picked up a 3-second penalty as well. Marlon is hassling all of the back of the TRT man. The TRT man, of course, is doing a solid job at this moment in time. But Tom Robbo leading the way. Modesto in 2nd. Rudy in 3rd. And Ron in 4th position. Marlon right on the back of Matnat, however. Tom Robbo still leading the way. Modesto looks like he's beginning to close in though. 2.1 seconds. The gap was around 3.5 at one stage. Modesto's got pace now, and he's beginning to close in. As a result, of course, he's got that penalty, and he needs to pull out a gap.
Yeah, I also think not just that. Look at the ERS difference between Tom Robbo and Modesto.
Yeah, Modesto. Yeah, 1.9 seconds, and obviously Modesto, he's got the new fastest lap of the race, he's got a 3-second penalty. Rudy is on the back of him as well. Molon and Matnat are side by side down in towards turn 1. Bunty is side by side on Bandstex, and Bandstex, well, just literally gets swallowed up there by Bunty, so he's through and he's into P11. So TRT making one move down, one move up there. Matnat down to 10th. Bunty up into 11th position. Rudy's looking close on Mode Stroll down towards turn 3. Doesn't get the move done though. Tom Robles still leading the way, Modesto in second, Rudy in third. And if you are trooping around like we are doing at this stage in the commentary box, it is 10:15 now, by the way, in the UK. And I've got to say, a big thank you to everyone that is tuning in so late on into the night. We are delayed, of course, as a result of Bunty turning up a little bit late. But everyone tuning in, thank you for your service and thank you for your time. And honestly, hopefully the final 11 or 12 laps of this race will not want to disappoint you.
Yeah, absolutely, as it does look like Montreal is closing in, but he doesn't really have the ERS, and Rudy has a little bit more ERS to play with, and he has the DRS to play with as well. And John Roro, I mean, look at the ERS he's almost got 90% there.
And that's why maybe the gap is coming down 1.4 seconds. That gap was 2 seconds last time around, so Tom Robble clearly not feeling the need to use up his ERS, as Modesto carries a lot of speed through the chicane. But now he's going to come under pressure from Rudy because the IFR man is going to be on the back, and soon it could be an IFR 1-2 with Modesto's 3-second time penalty, of course. Tom Robble leading the way. Is Rudy close enough down in towards turn 1? I don't think he is. However, I'm going to switch on to a more important battle in behind. Hadler on the back of Yoni Eve, and it's going to be 3 wide down the pit straight, down in towards turn 1. Mitchie is through, and Yavier down in towards turn 1 as well, and Hadler is through, and Marlon's through. Yoni Eve got swept aside there by both of them, and Hadler and Marlon are through and into 7th and 8th. They go 3 wide in towards turn 1, done cleanly. Very good.
Yeah, absolutely. And honestly, if you're Rudy right now, do you just sit behind Montreal, just save up the ERS and not use it?
Yeah, I think, to be honest, if I was Modesto, I'd be trying to save as much ERS now as possible. Maybe it's a sort of a situation where he does one ERS lap on, one ERS lap off. However, he just seems to be negating the fact that Tom Robbo has obviously got a lot of ERS. He might not realise that he's got a lot of ERS. If somebody is listening from the FVR camp, then obviously he is going to have a lot more ERS to burn up, and really, I think Modesto should be saving up more.
Yeah, I think Modesto, he's pushing everything to try and get in this DRS window, but Tom Robbo has so much ERS, he can just keep him at arm's distance, say. The big question is now, obviously with Rudy using his ERS to try and obviously keep with Montreal. Ron, he's just dropped outside of DRS range, now he's back in it. Does have the advantage ERS-wise compared to the two ahead of him. And he doesn't seem to be using as much as Ruby or Montreal.
Yeah, and Dresse has put on a very good comment in the comment section as well. Dresse looking... Mitchie actually getting on Mode Stall train right now, so he's not to be messed with either. 2.7 seconds. That DRS train, I think, is going to help Modesto, Rudy and Ron, who is on the back of this as well. So FRL looking quite strong as well. Obviously, Micheletti down in 13th position. But Ron scoring big points at this stage, of course. All point scoring positions are pretty much minimum of 5 points if everyone finishes. Marlon now on the back of Hadler, down in towards turn 3. Doesn't get the move done. The TTG man and the VER man still 7th and 8th. But Tom Robble leading the way. Mode Stroll in 2nd. Almost now, as if we saw he was catching, Modesto's tyres either have just gone off the cliff completely, or Tom Robble has now begun to use up a bit more ERS. And I think probably it's a bit more the latter than the former. Because actually it's now within 8 attempts.
Yeah, a little bit of a mistake from Tom Robble there in the middle of the castle, back end snapping. And as per Mode Stroll, right in the DRS window.
It does. He's 7 tenths away. Now Modesto is right on the back. The FVR boys will be cheering him on. There is a yellow flag coming through Sector 2. Is it Kaiser that is around? No, it is Bandstex coming through the castle section at turn 8.
Yep, it visually doesn't look like he's got damage from what I can see, but obviously that's just a massive setback now for the FMSL driver.
Yeah, Modesto, look at him. He's only got 6% of ERS coming down the straight. He's already derating, and you can tell Tom Robb was left out of his deployment as well. But look at the closing speed. Modesto's closing speed is insane. And this is only with limited ERS as well, so what it could have been like with a full tank of ERS. Marlon now side by side with Hadler further down the field, and Marlon is going to get the job done. Bunty is through on Yonieva. He's finally into the pit lane. Marlon through, however, into 7th position. The VER man, Modesto, looking close again on the back of Tom Robbo. Not close enough. But again, he just has to save up this ERS at this stage in the race. And this is the perfect opportunity now. They've pulled away from Rudy. They've pulled away from Ron. Modesto now, save up that ERS, attack Tom Robbo down in towards turn 1, and then go for the win.
Yeah, absolutely. As Rudy just dropping outside of the DRS range. Ron, I'm seeing the back end just snapping a little bit on Ron's car, which is obviously losing him a lot of time to Mitchie in behind. And now he's out of DRS range on Rudy, so we should see Mitchie getting in a bit of a battle now for P4 in a few laps' time.
Hadler back through on Marlon as well, and I think that might have been a mistake more from Marlon's point of view. And Hadler through, and he's into 7th position. Marlon in 8th. Modesto, though, cannot find another battle as good as this. Leading the way, of course, Tom Robbo. Modesto in 2nd. Remember, he's got that 3-second penalty, but now it looks as if it could become maybe a 4-5 car train for the winner here, because Mitchie is catching on Ron. Ron catching now on the back of Rudy. He's just going to be without DRS possibly. But now Modesto, surely this is the opportunity to strike, because he's right on the back. He's got more ERS, 27% of which he can use up now. Michelitti crashes, and that could deploy a safety car, so Modesto might not go for this move, and it's a safety car. It's a full course yellow, and it's a safety car. So Tom Robbo leading the way. Modesto, just as he was about to get the overtake done, he didn't, and Ron and Mitchie and Javier respond, all going on, I would assume, just out of softs.
Yeah, that came out perfect time for Mitch, Ron and Javier, but they could just start immediately into the pit lane. The safety car is come out right in front of Hadler, so hopefully the safety car just decide to get out of the way. And oh my god, he almost took out Marlon there, the safety car.
Just caught the end of that, so the safety car, honestly, not sure what Codemasters actually programmed into the safety car tonight, but that's the second incident we've nearly had out on track involving the virtual Bowman Islander. So, unfortunately, I think for Marlon, he was held up there slightly, but of course, he will be brought back into play with, of course, the safety car now having full effect. Ron now through on Mitchie into P6 as well, so these guys are on a sort of soft compound tyre. Are these guys, we saw with Tom Robbo, I think, in the first pit stop, and the FFC boys as well, he did that overcut. Obviously, it helps Yonieve a little bit down in P10, but look at the gap between Tom Robbo and Ron. That is the gap we've got to focus on, and the gap this time around, as I flick on the wrong thing, is around 19 seconds, so it's more than what it was. It was about 17 seconds in the first safety car that came through. Tom Robbo, Modesto and Rudy are going to be well ahead of Ron. It's as simple as that. And Hadler and Marlon are probably going to go on a set of mediums to the end of the race. Top 3, I think. Pit in now. No matter if you double stack, I think you're still going to come out ahead. Do it now, and then you're not going to lose positions later on in the race, possibly.
Yeah, and it'd be wise for all the drivers right now to come into the pits and come and set the soft tyres. Tom Robbo is going to come into the pits as very the pits. That might be just on the static I'm hearing. That may be slightly playing up for you.
It is slightly playing up for you, because I can hear you going a bit static as well. So I think we're having maybe a few connection issues here, but Adler leading the way, Marlon in 2nd. They're both staying out on that set of medium compound tyres. Tom Robbo there in 3rd, Modesto in 4th, Rudy in 5th. There is Ron coming out through turn 1, and look, the group of 3 cars, luckily for Tom Robbo and Rudy, they weren't in the same pit stop, but Tom Robbo and Rudy, 3rd and 5th position, they're all out ahead of Ron, and let battle commence in Baku.
Yeah, absolutely. And the interesting thing now is obviously Hadler and Marlon on those mediums.
Oh, I think we might have lost Mike. Hopefully You're still here?
I'm still here. I can tell that my connection's starting to go a little bit dodgy, but I'm still here.
You're still here. Good. We want you to stay here. Adler, of course, out on top. Marlon in second. Tom Robbo in third. Modesto in fourth. Reminder of the penalties, by the way, as well, while we look. Modesto, 3 seconds. 3 seconds for Matnat. 3 seconds for Hawaii Martha as well. The safety car was caused by Michelitti crashing out. So Michelitti crashing out of the race. Pingu, of course, had that 10-second penalty. Both crashes underneath the safety car. So he is out of the race. Yogurt Kononingolo crashing out the lead of the race. What could have it been for the FER boys? Modesto there in fourth position, doing a solid job from 13th on the grid. Mika, of course, out the race as well. But Hadler leading the way. Marlon in second. This race, honestly, I think we're going to get the safety car at least 1, maybe even 2 more laps at least. So everything now focuses the attention. What will Hadler and Marlon do off their safety car restart? Essentially, they've got to do what Yonayeve was doing as quick as possible, try and string out the field, hope that those softs don't come on.
I mean, this is actually heartbreaking for Modesto as well, as he with that 3-second time penalty. There's limited laps left in this race, and he is going to drop well down the order now with that 3-second time penalty.
Yeah, he will, to be honest, in Modesto. But then again, what about if other guys around him pick up a 3-second penalty? Hadler, Marlon, Tom Robert, what about if all of them picked up a 3-second penalty? And then we've got a situation where Modesto, obviously, is within striking range of possibly getting the victory. He has got a lot of pace, and I would argue, honestly, he's got more pace than Tom Robbo. I would be so surprised, and I'll say this now, I'd be so surprised if Modesto does not win this race. I know Tom Robbo has been quick, but Modesto, on a fresh set of soft combiner tyres, I think is quicker than Tom Robbo any day of the week. So Modesto has got to utilise that to good effect. And remember, he's only going to be 4 cars down in this DRS train when it comes online. And in fact, it could be him and Tom Robbo in 3 laps' time in a little bit of the future, in 3 laps' time, possibly fighting out for the race win.
Absolutely, and Tom Robbo, I didn't say anything about your pace, that was James. Send all comments to James, not to me, please.
No, I've got to be impartial to these drivers, but it's just my feelings and my thoughts, to be honest. I've seen Modesto around here. I think he crashed out in the PSGL event. Tom Robbo has obviously drove very well for the IFR boys so far tonight, but on paper, in theory, Modesto should be quicker, is what I'm thinking. Tom Robbo there in third. Rudy as well, not coming into perspective at all. Rudy, 5th position, he is pretty much wingman now to Tom Robbo, so he can now try and hassle Modesto, force him into mistake, force him maybe into a mistake enough for him to be at the race, and then all of a sudden we've got that age-old scenario of possibly an IFR 1-2, because Hadler and Marlon, I think those mediums are going to come online initially, but set of softs surely are going to be a lot quicker, and I wouldn't be surprised if Hadler and Marlon are down maybe to 10th, 11th position by the end of this race.
Yeah, this is going to be crucial now for Hadler and Marlon, just how they're going to be able to defend from these soft tyres behind them. Interesting thing with this safety car, as I'm pretty sure my mic's going again. In this lap, Mitch has been brought back into this massively, and arguably was faster than all of them.
He was catching Ron, but a lap old soft compounded tyres, he is going to get a bit more wear out of this. Hadler looks like he's going to get on with this. He is doing literally Yonayeve underneath the safety car restart. He has got to absolutely fly. And look at Tom Robbo. He's literally like super glue, stuck to the back of the VER man in front of him. And the IFR man, if it slows down all of a sudden, if Hadler slows down all of a sudden, there's going to be a carnage crash coming across the line. But Marlon, right on the back of Hadler, they're pretty much forcing Hadler's hand here, and we now get going, and Mitchie's overtaken Ron underneath the safety car as well, but Tom Robert down the inside of Marlon, tries to get him moved down towards turn 1. Is it going to be now turn 2? And now Marlon on the outside line, Tom Robert on the inside line, sticks his nose in, doesn't get the move done, so the 2 medium runners hold on. Hadler leads the way, Marlon in second, Marlon holding everyone up, and Yonayeve, I think, has had a collision with Van Sex further down the field, so both of them around.
Yep, carnage at the back.
Tom Robbo gets the move done. Does he on Marlon? Coming out of turn 3. Yes, job done. And now Tom Robbo can focus his attention on Hadler. And what this does is now bring Modesto and Rudy out of play. And Modesto, actually, as soon as I say that, dives down the inside and towards turn 6, gets the job done. So Modesto's through and he's into P3.
And here comes Rudy now, going to have a look down the inside.
They've got to force the hand as well. Down the inside line he comes, the IFR man. Mitchie's going to get involved. No way. No. Just no. Just no. That's suicidal. Trying to go on the outside of there. Trying to channel an enemy. Modesto's picked up another 3-second penalty, and that's him out of the race now, pretty much.
Yep, that is him assigning himself off the podium, I'd say now, as well.
Yeah, and he's going to be losing positions. Rudy, Marlon, Mitchie, Ron. He's going to be maybe halfway down the field by the end of this race. Hadler still leads the way, though. The TTG man doing a phenomenal job so far. However, he only ever picked up a 3-second time penalty now, but Tom Robbo on the back of Hadler. What is this going to be? Is Tom Robbo going to get this move done as Marlon has lost the position to Mitchie? So Mitchie now through and he's into P5 halfway down the straight, and Tom Robbo on the back of Hadler, not getting the move done. Modesto, though, still looks so quick on that set of soft compound tyres. He's right on the back of them, and the front three, in turn, pulling away from Rudy, pulling away from Mitchie as well. So concerns, really, at this point in the race, with no VSCs or safety cars probably likely now either. It's between these three.
Between these three, yes, however...
Obviously with the penalty, yeah.
Is a straight old fight right now between TTG and IFR.
And this is going to be interesting because what does Modesto do? Does Modesto force Tom Robbo's hand, force him in for a mistake, and then try and get Hadler and try and pull out 6 seconds, which is pretty much impossible on that set of soft compound tyres, but... Never, never discount a Spaniard, is what I will say. Never discount a Spaniard. He is on the back of Tom Robbo through the castle section. And again, Rudy all of a sudden now begins to catch back up. So Rudy and Mitchie now suddenly within the DRS train once again. So Hadler's still leading the way. He's doing a phenomenal job, I've got to say, on that medium compound tyres. However, all of the pressure now is going to come from behind. Can he handle that pressure?
Yeah, that is a question. Is it going to be a double podium for IFR? Is it going to be a double podium for TTG? That is the question. Who's going to gain more points here between these two teams?
I mean, literally said, I think CGT were the ones to watch out for, and look what happened. Pingu down in 17th out of the race, and Vilcher's down in 12th, and now, look at Modesto on the back of Tom Robbo. He is going to force his hand, and maybe Tom Robbo is going to try and drive Hadler down in towards turn 1 as well, but Modesto has got to try and get this move done. Now with the side draft running down in towards turn 1, Modesto is side by side, but again he runs out of VRS, down in towards turn 1, the Spaniard, forces the Brit Tan, down in towards 1, gets the job done, does he? And Modesto, I think, is through and he's into P2, he is, and look at that. Now he has got the pace. Modesto has got the pace over Tom Robbo. Listen to the head commentator here. Listen, Modesto now is going to launch a move for the lead of the race. Down in towards turn 3, put Hadler in the way, and you've got a really good chance of making up that 6 seconds. He nearly forced him into the wall, and now Tom Robbo is on the outside line in towards turn 3 and turn 4. Running out the line, and Hadler loses the control of the car, and Tom Robbo's doing he's into second.
Absolutely, that was a high risk, high reward there for Tom Robbo to make that move. So obviously with Mosok getting past Hadler, it was crucial for Tom Robbo to get through, so Hadler couldn't defend with DRS.
Look at the gap, it's a second already. It's a second already, and that gap is going up. This is not out of the question. I think 6 seconds, don't get me wrong, it's a big gap to try and find. But if he can break out of Tom Robbo's, if he can break now, Tom Robbo's DRS train, he's going to be under pressure from Hadler and Rudy in behind. So Tom Robbo really is going to be stuck in no man's land because Motorol's going away from him. Tom Robbo's now getting back into the clutches of Hadler and Rudy.
Well, this is intriguing now because I'm looking at this gap to the leader. Right now, Motorol is looking at P8 with Marlon's penalty, also going to drop him back. See how high up you can get.
Rudy's on the back of Hadler down in towards turn 1, IFR against CTG, and backs off that. I think really good stuff there from Rudy. Didn't want to try and launch the move. Modesto, 1.6 seconds clear. Gap is still going up. He's literally turned that set of soft compounded tyres essentially into the fastest compounded tyre pretty much you've ever seen around Baku. He's doing such an amazing job. Rudy now still on the back of Hadler. Is he going to force the issue towards turn 3? Yes, he does. Contact, forced him into the wall, and now Mitchie is held up as a result as well. And now Mitchie is going to try and dive it down the inside line. and he shouldn't have done that, and it causes all sorts of carnage in behind, because Ron has got contacted as well, and Mitchie just about gets out of the way, Matt Nat as well. But now Mitchie out of the race pretty much, and out of contention as Bunty is fighting with Yavier coming through turn 6 and 7 with Marlon right on the back of Ron.
Yeah, what this does now is actually give Mocho a bit of a relief, because he has a 2-second gap behind. Right now, he's dropping back just off the podium. He needs another 2 seconds on Rudy to get the podium here.
He does, and to be honest, Hadler is going to hold Rudy up, so that might be, that 2 seconds might be well within range from Modesto. He's got to switch on those tyres still for the remaining few laps of this race. Rudy on the back of Hadler. Now, coming around, I've just realised actually I'm going on to the final lap of the race. I thought we still had a few laps left. Modesto still leading the way. Tom Robbo in second, Hadler in third. Rudy on the back of him in towards turn 19. And look at this, he's got to get the move done already. Rudy with the side draft now running past on the inside line through the kink of 20. Hadler, though, is going to pick up a bit of slipstream. He is out of DRS range. He is out of DRS, and he's out of ERS as well. And now coming down towards turn 1. Rudy is through and he's into P3, and IFR looking on for second and third. Bunty gets through on his teammate Matt Nat. So Bunty recovering well in this race, and he's into P8 and doing a phenomenal job. And do you know what? He might even end up in P7, P6 possibly.
Yeah, absolutely. As obviously we have Marlon's penalty. I think he'll only gain the 1 position. He's a bit too far back off Monstro at the moment, who is still on course to be ahead of Ron.
Oh! Switch on the wrong thing there. I've put the telemetry on. There's the penalties. Modesto's got 6 seconds. Just confirm. I've just seen in the chat. 6 seconds worth of penalties. Marlon, Matt Nat, Quayamave on 3 seconds. Yoni Eve on 6 seconds as well. But Modesto still doing a phenomenal job. Tom Wilbur picks up a 3-second time penalty. Modesto might win this.
I'm not sure about that one.
You're not sure, but I don't know. There is a yellow flag in Sector 1, and I think it's Vilches that has spun again. So Vilches has spun down in P13. And Modesto, 3 seconds the gap. He is still ebbing out that gap more. But it looks like Tom Robble's race now to lose. Running down in towards turn 16 for the final time. Modesto, though, out on top. He has driven such a phenomenal race. I did say, oh, Tom Robble was at a moment. Tom Robble was at a moment coming out through. And now Rudy is going to get on the back of Tom Robble. Suddenly it's 4 seconds the gap. Modesto now coming across the line to win here in Baku. It's not going to be enough. Is it going to be enough for the podium possibly? I think he might just be outside of it. Modesto across the line to win. Tom Robbo across the line to finish in second, but will pick up the win as a result of penalties. Rudy in third. Hadler 5.4 seconds, and the gap for Modesto is not there, and he doesn't get on the podium. Hadler in the end finishes in P3. Modesto in P4 drove such a good race. Ron in 5th. Yavier in 6th. Bunty in 7th. Marlon in 8th. Matt Nat in 9th. Mitchie ran off the top 10, of course, all provisional. There's AI fighting down towards turn 1 there. Quayamave ran the outside of Mitchie. Kaiser across the line in P12. We're waiting on Vilches, who's spun, and Yone is going to get him down in towards the line, possibly. Vilches and Yone Eve side by side. Who is going to get the toe? I think Yone Eve is going to outdo him because of the penalty. Yone Eve is going to jump in behind Vilches, so Vilches will jump up to P13. Yone Eve with 6 seconds worth of penalties down in P14. And Bands Tex, FMSL do pick up their first points of the season with a high score in 11th and 15th position. Bands Tex across the line to finish in 15th as well. And that, finally, is the Azerbaijan Grand Prix all over and done with. The driver of the day is awarded by the in-game fans is Modesto, and I will agree with that.
Shame about the penalties, but yeah, he definitely showed he had tremendous pace here tonight.
Yeah, and before anybody calls Modesto bias, I'm not Modesto bias whatsoever. He drove such a solid race. He deserves, I think, my driver of the day, and certainly Mike's driver of the day as well. We have got Kasper Ackermann now on the top step of the podium, apparently. But, of course, to the top side of the podium is Tom Robbo, and Tom drove such a solid race. Do not take anything away from the IFR boys as well. Fantastic drive from both of them. Rudy, of course, getting on the podium in the end as well. But let's have a rundown of the full grid order before we end off tonight's stream. There's Tom Robbo out on top. It's an IFR 1-2. Rudy in second. Who predicted an IFR 1-2, by the way, in the second safety car? Me. Tom Robbo wins. Rudy in second. Hadler in third. Modesto in fourth with Ron in fifth. Yavier in sixth. Bunty drove well for TRT in 7th, Marlon Nathan, Matt Nat in 9th, Mitchie ran off the top 10. I have a feeling, though, there's going to be a lot of stewards penalties probably coming the way. Mitchie there in P10, as I say. Hi Marve in 11th, F1 Kaiser in P12, Vilches in P13, Yoni Evan in P14, Banstex in 15th, Michelitti, the cause of the second safety car in the end, 16th, Pingu, Yogurt, Koro Ningolo, mouthful to say, and Mika all crashing out the race at various stages. But Tom Royal on top, Rudy in second, IFR absolutely deserved that 1-2, a solid strategy for them, and they pick up 4 points, and TTG, of course, fall by the wayside, 3rd and 10th.
Yeah, absolutely. IFR, big points today for the team. Definitely is going to jump them up the order, ninth, well up the order, I'd say with, what's it, 40 for that team?
Yeah, it was about a 40-odd point gap, I think. 42 points, I'm tempted to say.
They were 60. They were 60 off TTG.
60 off TTG. So IFR, I think, have they moved into second, possibly? All of these standards, of course, are going to be worked out at a later date. But honestly, such a solid drive from Tom Robbo, Rudy and Hadler, finishing off turn P1, 2 and 3. Ruben Teve saying nice race at the top. A Mode Stroll masterclass is what he said, and I totally agree. Mode Stroll drove an absolute solid race. And as I said, he had the pace over Tom Robbo. And, do you know what? In a few laps' time, I think he would have got that 6 seconds gap. However, of course, it's only a 26-lap race. It could have been a 28-lap race, and he probably still would have got that 6-second gap. But Tom Robbo has won. Rudy in second, Hadler in third. That is the end for tonight's live stream, of course, here in Azerbaijan. We really hope you enjoyed it. And, of course, Mike, thank you for joining me in the commentary box as well. Well done to the IFR boys from first and second. Hadler finishing in third as well. Those are your top 3 step on the podium. Currently, might all change as a result of stewards' penalties. But of course, we go to France, I believe, next month, the 24th of November, and that is 4 days before my birthday. So I'm expecting early birthday wishes from all of you in the comment section. And if you don't, I might come and, well, I don't know. I'll decide in a month's time. Tom Robbo wins. Rudy in second, Adam in third. That was the end of tonight's live stream. Thank you so much for watching. And until next time, goodbye.